Hello and welcome to the live. I'm getting a bit of feedback on my end, so I'm wondering, hey everyone, welcome to the live. Great to be here. My name is Emma Lyons. I am the founder of the Trauma Matrix, and I work with women who are struggling to get what they want in business because they feel like there's something inside their mind. They might be doing all the things, but they're still struggling to see the results. They are burning themselves out. Maybe they have the best coaching, but are still struggling to get those results. And what I do is I work with the mindset, work with the nervous system so that you can actually relax and get into a flow place where you receive. So I'm really excited about this conversation here today. I am here with Allegra Jackson. Allegra Jackson is an amazing business coach, and we're going to talk today specifically to women who are working in 9 to 5 and who want to start a business, because that requires a whole different level of consciousness. So I'm really excited to be here. I'm going to pass the mic over to Allegra so that she can introduce herself, and we get on with the conversation. Over to you, Allegra.
Hey everyone, I hope you can hear me very clearly. I'm Allegra Jackson, the marketing medulla, and I am a business coach like Emma Lyons just said, and I'm also a marketing strategist. And I love the conversation today because for women who are working 9 to 5s, I got out of the rat race myself. And just starting a business, like Emma said, is not easy. It is a different mindset. It is a shift in your mind, in your life, in everyone's life, because when you start the business, the people around you are going to have to support that mission, that drive, that journey. So let's talk about it today. We do have a couple of questions that we want to present to you guys just to really highlight, where people are a little conflicted or confused. And maybe that'll help you in your journey, all right, when you think about what it looks like when trauma shows up in business. So let's start off. Emma, I'm going to start with the question and then we can get into it, guys. This is a short live, so I want to make sure that you drop your questions so that if you have your own, we can answer them every week when we come live in this series on Thursday at 2 p.m. So the first question was, how do I know if I'm operating from a trauma response in my business? I'll start with you. Emma, take it away.
Well, this question is maybe for women who are already in business, and you know you're operating from a trauma response if you have any of these things going on. If you are working with an amazing coach like Allegra and you're doing all the things, you're following all Allegra's amazing advice, doing all the things, but something just isn't connecting with your audience and you're not getting the results. That's a classic kind of trauma response. Maybe you're not comfortable with receiving, or, it could be also you're afraid to show up. That's another big one. So Allegra is telling you all the things that you need to do. You need to go live. You need to talk about this. And when it comes to actually doing the things, you find yourself procrastinating, cleaning the house, doing a million other things. That's another classic sign. So you know exactly what you should be doing, but aren't doing it, are doing all the things and still not getting the results. And the other sign, if you're operating out of trauma, and this one is for people who are already in business and maybe you're successful, maybe you're experiencing some success, you've hit an upper limit. That means you've hit the 10K, the 5K, or you've started your business, you're making sustainable income, but no matter what you do, you cannot get beyond that 5K, 10K point. You keep spinning your wheels even when you expand your strategies and work with amazing people like Allegra and TC. Some months maybe you get higher and some months you're down. You might be experiencing the roller coaster. That's another one. So you're up and you're down and you're all over the place. So that's another classic sign that you could be operating from trauma. And for women who are starting a business, because that's who we're really focusing on talking today, women who want to start a business but are in a 9 to 5 and don't want to be there, you are likely operating out of trauma. Well, if you feel like you have to do something you don't like in order to survive, for example, you're stuck in kind of survival mode and you're just overwhelmed, you don't know where to start, and you end up not doing anything. because it just seems too much. That's like, so you kind of just go into freeze and paralysis. That's classic. That's another classic trauma response. And I want to say, this is not your fault. If you're resonating with any of these things, doesn't mean you're the problem. It also doesn't mean that you can't get the next level, whatever that is for you. You absolutely can. But you kind of just need to rewire your brain, because if you're in a 9 to 5 and that's all you've known and that's all your parents knew, it requires like an upgrade or a different level of consciousness in order for you to be in business or to be successful in business. It requires a kind of shift in the way you think about things and in what's possible for you in order to get there. So that's the shift that we're going to be talking about today, and it's so important. It is, I think people kind of, we have it inverted. They talk about 80-20. We tend to focus, because we live in a physical reality, people tend to focus 80% of their energy on the strategy and 20% on maybe doing a few affirmations and things. But actually, especially for women who are in a 9 to 5, it needs to be the other way around. You need to be working on your mindset, rewiring yourself, doing 80% of the energy there, and then also taking those actions that feel good and aligned and following the strategy that feels like it's in alignment for you. And it's something that's expansive, maybe a little bit scary, but it's something that's kind of exciting as well. So that's what I would say. Those are the main signs that I'm talking about. Back to you, Allegra. Allegra, are you there? I don't know if I've frozen, if you've frozen, what's going on. I'm just looking at the bars. Are we streaming on Instagram? Allegra, are you there? Can you hear me? I'm just looking at the live. Here we go. Okay. Yay. Okay.
Is it still staticky?
It is a bit staticky, but you're there. I'm gonna mute so I can hear you.
Okay, I don't know why it does that, guys. And here's the only thing I can do, and I can say maybe if
Allegra, we've lost you again. I don't know what is happening. You had a kind of robot voice, and now I'm hearing a lot of static. We're getting the tech demons are against us today, Allegra. Oh my God. Wow, the tech has got us in a bit of a bind today. I don't know if it's on my side or your side, or if it's the StreamYard platform, but bear with us.
Can you hear me here?
Yes, and no static, which is great.
Okay, when I'm on my phone, it's like bad, y'all. Okay, so it's going to get off in a moment. So I did hear what you were talking about, Emma, and I wanted to highlight this because this came up while you were talking. I think that we have to acknowledge that this is not different in business than it is in our 9 to 5. And I want to encourage women in a 9 to 5 that, you're not, there's a lot of women that I work with that have 9 to 5s and they have a business. They're entrepreneurs, but their attitude is the same in their 9 to 5, right? They have boundaries. They make sure that they take responsibility for their work, right? They're very intentional about what they're doing at their jobs. They utilize all their resources, so there's things that we can do in our 9 to 5 space that will allow us to remove, right, all of those things that will stop us in business. And this is why we do the mindset shift early on, so that in our 9 to 5s, we are equipped. So when we leave our 9 to 5s and go operate our own businesses, we're not taking bad behaviors with us. And some of the things that actually came up, Emma, when you were talking and it came down to what you teach, right? This whole, I'm sorry, it says flight twice, but it's supposed to say fight, y'all. I got to change that. This is not my area, clearly. This is Emma's area. So, and I'm just repeating what I know of, right? But fight is that first area. So let me change that. I'm gonna take that away. And let me change that to what it's supposed to say. So y'all don't get confused. Y'all coming for me at the neck. Not today. All right. So when we talk about, when we talk about this is what came up, right? In a 9-to-5 workplace, if you have a fight response, you're taking on too much to prove your worth. Like you're doing more than what you need to just to get that approval from your boss, your supervisor, your coworker, or even your parents. Like I even remember telling my mom all these things that I was doing at my 9-to-5 job and just feeling so proud that I was taking on so much work and I was so responsible. I was like, for what? Right? Like in business, your job is not to take on more than what you need. Your job is to delegate and pass it down. So it's that area that in your 9-to-5, like, and this is a mindset, like Emma said. So if you have that control or that overworking where you're becoming overly competitive or defensive in meetings, I've literally seen this so many times where, we don't know how to take constructive criticism at work. It's important for us to understand when people are telling us things, it's our opportunity to allow them to, have their opinion, say what they need to say, but also, understand where you stand, right? You have to know your value where you work so that people don't take advantage of that. I've seen so many people, they're like, oh, I hate my job. I don't get paid enough. I'm, overlooked, undervalued. And I'm like, well, go get another job, right? Go somewhere else where they appreciate you. Don't fight that job, right? Don't fight your employer. Don't fight for, your worth. Like that doesn't make sense. And I think that you can align with jobs that are going to give you the right type of atmosphere where you can grow, you can prosper, you can blossom. But, it does take a matter of understanding, what's happening. So if you're taking on too much at work, you're over competitive or defensive, or even like me, I was like the micromanager, guys, like always wanting to be the one to tell people what to do, over projects and making sure that, my colleagues are doing their job. And it's like, what for? If that happens in 9-to-5 atmospheres, what happens in our businesses is we take that energy and then we micromanage everybody that comes to us. And when you're in business, guys, when people come to you, they come to you with their own businesses, their own ideas, you want to align and build a team and allow their expertise and what they do to build your business, right? So micromanaging someone is just limiting their ability to do things that, would build the business better for you. But they can't come up with those ideas because, we're so used to micromanaging. Those are the different areas of the fight response. Emma, do you want to comment on that area? Because I know I can go through all of these and say that if we're in a 9-to-5, these are the things that we can be working on. So when you're getting to the business space, and whether you have the LLC and you want to get the LLC, whether you want to be a sole proprietor, it doesn't matter what you want to do. If you're not working on these areas, then you'll take it into your business. Any comments on that, Emma?
Well, absolutely. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. It doesn't just stay in your personal life. It doesn't just stay in your work. It'll come into your business, definitely, if that's your habit, your process, the way that you work in order to feel safe. And yeah, so many of us we're living very much in survival mode, and we feel like we've got to fight our way. We've got to prove ourselves in order to be good enough, in order to get that validation. And also, we're talking to women who are in a 9-to-5 today. Taking that leap and actually starting a business is terrifying because, you might be used to having the steady income, and going from that to creating your income, it's terrifying. And you can find yourself going into fight, flight, freeze, and fawn and have all the best. This is why a lot of people, the reason why they don't start, they never get their business off the ground is because they're too afraid to even start. That's for a lot of people, because if I start, then I'll have to do something. It's like you go into this freeze mode, and we can all get stuck there. I know I have, in this kind of quiet victim mode, this learned helplessness, I was talking to a friend who's definitely in that learned helpless space. And I've been there. And basically, if you think of an elephant, the way they used to train baby elephants, right? They used to tie them to a big pole, well, little pole, and the baby elephant wouldn't be able to move. And then the baby elephant would just learn, okay, we can't pull this cord. I just have to stay where I am. And then when the elephant is grown, the tiny little stick is in the ground, and the elephant remembers, the elephant never forgets. And they think that I can't move. So they don't even try, even though they have so much force, so much power, so much potential. It doesn't even try to get away because it carries this belief that I can't, that I'm helpless. This is called learned helplessness. And so many of us carry this from childhood, from things that we've learned. You can't do it. This is the number reason why people don't start a business, because they believe that they can't do it. I can't be successful. I can't do it. If that's what you're saying inside your head, or if you have black and white thinking, if you think I have two options, I can do this, I can leave, you have a million different options, guys. We all have a million different options. You could go this way, that way, this way. You could get a job here, there, everywhere. You could start your own business doing one thing, working in a garage, start one business, start a different business. There's so many possibilities. And when we're in this trauma response, we start thinking, oh, I've only got two options here. I need to stay in my business, or I need to start my business, jump in, this all or nothing thinking. And for lots of people, it helps to kind of lean into it, maybe go part-time, maybe work on it in the weekend, so that you still have that feeling of safety. Because when you're not feeling safe, that's when the trauma responses really come up. And that's when we sabotage ourselves, guys. That's when, you say the wrong thing to your client, or because deep down inside, you don't think that it's safe to go there. Who knows? There's a million different things there, but you're in survival mode. And if we want to show up and be successful in business, we need to come out of survival mode. And if you've been living in survival mode for 20, 30, 40 years so far, it's a process, because you've got to rewire your brain, rewire your nervous system, come out of that helpless state. And that involves having the strategies that seem simple and straightforward, and having that guidance, and also working with your nervous system, working with your mindset, expanding what seems possible for you, so that you take all those amazing actions, so that you do the things that are going to move you forward in your business. Otherwise, you're just going to end up proving yourself right and over and over again. I can't do it. I can't be successful. Yeah, you're right. If you believe that, you're going to keep playing that same story out. So you've got to break that record. You've got to cut that off. And that means doing some deeper work beyond just strategy. You've got to do some inner work, because your business is a reflection of what's going on inside here. And you can only be as successful as your body, your nervous system, and your brain actually feels safe doing. If the body is like, holy shit, it doesn't feel it, this is life or death, oh my God, I'm going to be killed if I show up there, if I make that money. And it sounds silly, but that's actually how it works. Your mind, your body, your mind is like, my God, terrible is going to happen. Your system is not going to let you go there. So we need to do the holistic work. We need to work holistically, do the right actions, but also do the inner work as well. And especially for people starting such a big shift from working a regular job to owning and running your own business. It's massive mindset difference.
This is such an important conversation. And so for those of you who are still in that 9-to-5 space, whether you have the business or not, especially if you are looking to start own experiences, use your 9-to-5 space to learn and grow and feed yourself, right? Because if you look at these areas of fight, flight, freeze, fawn, shutdown, right? is able to, I said, take criticism well, but also to be able to address issues in your workplace. And I've seen a lot of like, but here's the thing, I had to learn in my 9-to-5 space. This is the last thing I'll say, because I work with women who've been in their 9-to-5s for 30 plus years. Okay. That's a long time in someone's life to have security from a paycheck. Very long time. And when you said that it takes time to change in your nervous system and your mind, that's deep work, guys. Like, this is not light stuff. And this is why I'll have to create partnership therapy included, right? Additional resources that while they're building their business structure and they're marketing their business before, addressing issues is something that comes from a place of confidence and understanding your self-worth. It's like the boot camp, or you can call it a battleground, whatever you want to call it, like where you were starting out your 9-to-5, you're using that to kind of practice your business on responsibilities that you would have to do in your business anyway. And you're doing it on someone else's dime. That's the right. Find the right coach, find the right partners, find the right team. You're actually in a space that operating under that business and figuring out how you can build the right relationships instead of, creating situations where you're comfortable at that job, allowing yourself to stretch and improve. Difficult conversations, with coworkers and bosses is one area. I remember working on projects in 9-to-5 and actually feeling like I didn't get anything done, and that feels bad, right? Like I'm taking too long to get things effectively until I started working on my business, and then I was like, oh wow, like this is why it has to. And so it made me look at, even made me look at my 9-to-5 differently. Like, oh, I've been just kind of sitting here, allow just what it is. So let's look at these areas, right? Like Emma, you described how we can get seeing the real deep-rooted issues, and how we do that is by becoming aware of them, number one. So before we end this live, I'm going to connect you guys to Emma, and that way you can work on whatever mindset and neural behavior is going on in your body that you need to reset, right, on your business. I'm the coach where I really love working with women who've been in 9-to-5s for 20, 30, 40 plus years, right? And they're like, I'm 60, I'm 70. Can I actually start over? And I'm like, start over, right? Because the truth is, your next level in life could just and resources and up leveling yourself to another area, which is business, which is independently creating your own wealth and creating your own tool. So let's look at this differently, everyone, as we, kind of go into this next level. If you're in a 9-to-5, doesn't mean you have to stop. It just means we have a journey to take now. Okay, and myself and Emma are here for that. Emma, anything you want to add before?
Well, I would just say, if you are feeling the fear, and it is scary, let's be real, because I would say, find, number one, don't try to, what you know what it's like to work for someone else. So running your own business you try to do it on your own, it's really confusing. And about what I know myself, because I've done this. You can end up, and I did, going into fight, flight, freeze, fawn, and feeling is that it really starts to affect your self-esteem. And you start thinking, oh my God, this isn't even possible for me. Many people end up giving up, and it's not because you're not capable. It's not, you are capable if you have a vision, ability, it's out there, it's something that's conceptually possible. But your possibility, your bit of catching up to do. So it's really cool to be around other women like Allegra who are already doing it, so that you can get there so much quickly, because I have seen so many people spinning their wheels and going round and round in something because it's not working. But it's not because it's not possible, but because because they have these beliefs that it's not possible, that it's too hard. A lot of women also have beliefs that you have to struggle for money, do something that you don't like for money. This is another one that I see time and again. We've been programmed in this for generations. You're coming in with those kind of belief systems and trying to start a business. You're going to struggle because you're trying to go, holy shit, it is not safe. We need to go this way. We need to stay where we are. So we want to get aligned. So all energy is going forward. And being in a collective group of women or people who are going to drive us forward, who are going to give us that hope, that feel and embody the business that we want, and the person that because you have to become a different person. 9 to 5 and earning that steady income is a different woman to the woman who totally different energetic space and emotional and belief space. So you've got to bridge that gap and flowing in your business, and you don't need to struggle, you don't need to stop and start, you don't need to go into flight and fawn doing it, taking action and doing the inner work. That's the most accelerated path to do it, because people get ideas about things they could do once you shift certain patterns or beliefs. Then they start thinking, oh my God, once Allegra. And after we cleared some stuff around his childhood, we both got this that just kind of landed in his head. And he was kind of afraid to do it. I helped him work through that fear. And he called, which he made straight after the session, he sold a piece of art that was worth thousands, would not have happened had we not kind of cleared the clouds that were preventing him get this idea on it as well, to kind of complete the circuit. And that's the beauty of working with someone like Allegra, and also working with someone congruently and move, and that's when you get those great synchronicities happening, and it's so cool.
Awesome. Okay. So guys, I don't know, Mike, mute your mic. Everything you said was amazing too. So and that's why I hope you guys were able to hear it. Can you pause your mic and because I want to make sure it's not breaking up. We're about to end, and I know we're getting to the end of this. This is very important when you get into a space and you're starting your business, like Emma is saying, we encourage you and motivate you, but give you the resources that you and I love this conversation. So we're gonna come back next week. We're gonna bring some more questions standing. We're all in a world where business, if you are not looking into business as a resource, it's just we like to be, like I like to serve. I'm a big person where I like to give. I have a huge heart, but when you're going into business, you have to be very comfortable with things that are going to require you to, like one of the things I used to do is I don't want to charge too much. That's what I used to say. Oh, and I don't want to knock them over the head with the pricing. I would feel certain types of ways like I had to always be available even. I even told Emma that, that's changed over time, right? But business requires what type of value you're putting in it. Can't give your whole sell of the business, right? Getting frustrated or burned out, right? We want to guide you guys. So make sure you reach out to Emma and myself if you need that support. Our consultation calls and discovery calls. Yeah, it's all right. So let's get out of here. We'll see you guys next week. We'll just, fix whatever.